I mentioned my vocation crisis in my previous reflection, and that I took 3 years of temporary vows to allow me the time to discern the vocation God was calling me to. My remaining 2 years at Don Bosco College were delightful, even though the now disgraced Theodore McCarrick, then auxiliary bishop of the Archdiocese of New York, presided at the Baccalaureate Mass. Once, in my senior year, I went to confession to Father Benedict Groeschel. I chose him because I didn't want to go to one of the priests I lived with. When I was finished, he continued it for me. He read my soul. I was completely humbled. Since that time I've always tried to make a good confession. For my 3rd year of vows, I was assigned to be a teacher of theology and manufacturing, as well as the assistant band director at Bosco Tech, my alma mater. At the time, I thought it was an odd decision. I figured it would have been better for me to have an experience of another Salesian high school. Unfortunately, I was 10 years younger than anyone else in the community, and there were no continuing formation programs at the time, so I became very lonely. It was so different from my experience in seminary and actually made the decision not to renew my vows easier. I couldn't imagine living that way the rest of my life. Looking back, however, I believe it was providential that I was assigned there. Because of the friendships I made that first year, I eventually ended up working there another 35. A policy at the time was that my leaving the community meant I also had to leave the school. I also found that decision odd, but if I had stayed, I wouldn't have moved to Ventura and met Yolanda. During the next 6 years, I had a series of jobs, girlfriends, and enrolled in 2 educational programs, and even went back to the seminary for a few months. Each time, however, I returned to teaching theology. I was more at home doing that than anything else. I'll review that part of my pilgrimage in my next reflection.